You're listening to ProdCast, the personal productivity podcast from CRM Audio. This episode is sponsored by CRMUG. CRMUG, the user group for Dynamics 365 and CRM, is powered by users for users and specializes in the delivery of member-driven education, networking, and events to help you maximize your current Microsoft Dynamics investment. We thank the Dynamics 365 user group for sponsoring ProdCast, the personal productivity podcast from CRM Audio. Matthew, good day to you.
Good day to you as well, sir. Dilly dilly.
Good day, sir. So, Matthew, now that you work for the mothership Microsoft Corporation, where do you work from? Do you work from home? Do you work from an office?
Yeah, so I'm classified as a remote worker, so I don't have a requirement to go into an office all the time. There is a Minneapolis office in Edina, but for the most part, I actually go and I use a co-working space. Have you ever done that?
I know people who run co-working spaces, and I'm assuming the Edina office of Microsoft is not one of the bigger offices.
You know, it's actually there's decent amenities there. It's a few floors of a nice building, and it's a good atmosphere. But traffic getting there in the morning, I'd prefer to work somewhere closer.
Do they have the vending machine of Surface Pens there? That's what I want to know.
They do not have a vending machine of Surface Pens, though for a while they had a stack of Surface Pro 3 and Surface Pro 4 tablet cases.
Nice, nice.
I have neither, so. But yeah. So I primarily work from a co-working space when I'm around. So, you know, it's fast, reliable internet, coffee and tea, and a kitchen area, you know, cubes, comfy seating, TVs around. Did I mention reliable internet?
And you have enclosed offices there, or how does that work?
Yeah, so when you walk in, there are a few different pods of like open style cubes, so like banks of 4 in kind of a pinwheel type of style. Mm-hmm. Then they also have some dedicated desks off to one side where, you know, if you want to keep a picture of the family on the desk or have a filing cabinet, that kind of thing, you can opt for a dedicated desk, and they do have a bank of private offices as well. For me, I just do the general coworker membership. So for that, I just go and I pick an open cube, or, you know, a spot in the tall table seating, or sometimes even do standing desk style with that.
Okay. And so when you're at the co-working place working with other people from freelancers or whoever else is there, mm-hmm. Do you get to feel like they're your colleagues in any way, or do you view them as strangers?
So I didn't know what to expect when I went into this one, but I definitely would say it feels more like colleagues than it does strangers that I happen to be working around. The group of people do a variety of different things, and I was surprised that to find out how many of them actually work for, you know, larger organizations. I mean, I work for Microsoft and I'm using the co-working space, but there are other, you know, big names out there where people just want to have some of that sense of community. And what's interesting is it's changed some of the social dynamic of when I stand up and I want to, you know, take a break after a long conference call or something like that. When I go over to chat with somebody, there's no question of like, is he here because he really wants something from me right now? Like, is someone going to try to foist work upon me? You know, whereas if you're in an office with, you know, true coworkers and similar roles, you know, there's the question of like, is this a truly social visit, or are we just exchanging pleasantries before you ask me for a favor?
Right. On that note, whether you're co-working or not, here's a question I've had in my mind is, okay, you go into the office, your coworker Bob is there too. You see Bob, you say, "Hello, Bob." Then you go to your office. what's the time length before you say hello to him again when you pass him? Because if you see him like 5 minutes later and say, "Hi, Bob," it's weird. But if it's like 5 hours later, are you supposed to greet him at that? I never know what that cutoff is.
Maybe I'm just weird. I'm not against saying "Hi, Bob," 2, 3, 4 times right in a row, kind of making a joke out of it.
Just come up and give him a big old hug.
Though I think there does reach a point where there will start to be questions of like, am I actually doing anything, or am I just walking around doing a circuit saying hello to everybody?
So what brought you to the point where you said, I'm going to go to a co-working site instead of working from my house?
Yeah, I mean, so I like working from the house. I did it for, about 6 years, and there was a lot of upside for working from the house. One of the big drivers for me is, frankly, the social aspect was tough to keep up. It's very easy to stay in really comfy clothes, go through an entire day and realize I hadn't left the house at all when I was, working from home. And this is a bit of a reason to get out and see some people, have some conversations with, other adults who have interesting things to talk about, catch up on the news, chit chat, that kind of thing. But also just, have that social itch scratched without having to join a new club or something like that. The other big thing for me is now working from home. My daughter is, just over 2 years old at this point, and she's an awful lot of fun. She likes doing things, and the prospect of having dad at home means she comes calling a lot. And that's one where I would just not get anything done if I worked from home all the time.
You're like the famous BBC man.
Yeah, exactly. But hopefully I'm not video conferencing at that point.
Right. Well, that's cool. That's cool. I mean, I've seen that. I guess that's a better option than what I frequently do, which is doing a webinar sitting in my car outside of a Starbucks on unreliable Wi-Fi, which can get very hot in the summer and cold in the winter. So you have heat, air, and reliable internet connection. And quieter than working from a Panera Bread or something if you want to do a conference call too.
Yeah, well, and that's actually one of the cool things about this is it does give me a more reliable place for those type of situations, but also there were these things I didn't expect where there is etiquette around what kind of calls you're taking from the middle of a pinwheel style cube layout. And they do have, if I'm going to be on a longer conference call or I'll do, remote presentations or demonstrations and that kind of thing. And they have dedicated phone rooms that I can go into with a door that will close. You could take a personal call in there as well if you want to have some privacy with whatever that conversation is. But it's kind of like, I know when I'm going in there, I'm going to have that phone call. And, when I get back out into the co-working space, it's a nice little break for me, actually, where I know, like, I'd rather not pick up the phone or hop on a call unless there's a real reason to do it. Whereas when I was working from home before and, if somebody's Skittle on Skype was green, I'd make that call. Sometimes that could be distracting, or if someone was calling in, it would feel weird to not take that call if I was technically there and available. The co-working space helps me to be able to have that filter be a little bit easier.
Right. Okay. Well, that's good. That might be something, if you work from home, you should check out then. And Did you look into several different locations? Because those things seem to pop up all over the place.
Yeah. So there were some chains that I looked at. I thought of like an executive suite kind of thing, but that just really didn't fit the social side of what I was looking for. But there's WeWork, there's Coco that are some of the bigger chains that are out there. I ended up going with one that is they have 2 locations. They're about to be adding a third, based in the Minneapolis area. And I really liked kind of the quirky nature of this one, and it's not specifically targeted toward it's the founding of it was on this principle of being a little bit uncommon as far as the workspace, and not uncommon in a trying to be trendy kind of uncommon, but truly just like rethink the way that you work. And I've really liked that. And their pricing was, reasonable, and I got my choice if I want to go use one of the other co-working spaces that they have, because they each have their own social norms there, and group of people who are normally at those. I can kind of tap dance around, so I've really liked it.
Nice.
Couple of things, on that social side, the thing that another thing I didn't necessarily expect was, so it was recently National Cereal Day. I don't know, Joel, did you celebrate National Cereal Day?
I did not celebrate although I may have eaten cereal. I don't know.
Well, so I didn't know it was National Cereal Day, but one of the people in my co-working space works for a food company that has a dozen, 24 different brands or types of cereal. So I showed up, and there was just this mountain of cereal boxes, and milk bowls, spoons, berries to put on top, and it's just kind of a fun way to walk into work and see things there. And all the leftover cereal at the end of the day, people got to take home. So I tried some s'mores cereal as a snack. That was a first for me.
Yeah. Wow. Then you would have no idea if it was cereal day if you hadn't done that.
Exactly. And I look forward to next year's National Cereal Day as well. I won't eat breakfast that time.
Okay. So I have something to discuss in the That's Not Productive segment of our show.
Oh boy, I would love to hear it.
Bring on the theme song. Okay, so this is something I found that seemed very productive, and I'm in the never-ending quest to tame the email beast, as you know, as we talked about many times here. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that showed early promise for me, but ultimately did not make me more productive, and I still think it's a good idea, and for some people it might work well, but because of the work I do and the nature of the emails I receive, and that is, it didn't work that great for me, and that's pausing my inbox. So, I love the Outlook add-in called Boomerang, and they also have a Gmail add-in, and the idea is delay sending email. I use that all the time. I think they acquired somebody, but they introduced this new feature called Inbox Pause, and the idea, which is really kind of neat, is you pause your inbox, and it still can send emails out, and it still is receiving emails, but it's putting them in a kind of hidden folder, and then in a time schedule will release them into your inbox. And so it kind of, the value of it, or the value proposition is, it's giving you some breathing room to catch up and to focus on other things, and then you can say, I only want emails to come in 2-3 times a day.
Yeah.
And so in theory it worked well. In the first couple of days it was great, but then I had the time where somebody canceled the meeting right beforehand, or somebody said I'm going to be 15 minutes late, and I missed it, and then I had to figure out where that hidden folder was. And once I figured out where the hidden folder was, guess what I did? I kept going to the hidden folder to see if people had canceled the meeting, or late breaking changes, or urgent messages. And I found I actually increased the amount of time I was spending in my inbox. So with deepest regrets, I turned off Inbox Pause, and I actually didn't turn it off totally. I left it on for 4:30 to 8:15 a.m. And so the idea is, and over weekends. So the idea is to try and give myself a break after hours, because if I don't watch myself, I will be checking the inbox. And the whole inbox zero thing, I think I have been the last 2-3 years feverishly filing and deleting my emails. And it's gotten to be a little bit much, where it turns into more of I want to see that you have no messages in your inbox message, rather than the core, which is make sure I've keeping track of everything. So I think I'm modifying my stance a little bit, trying to chill out a little bit with being the rugged email zero guy, and still trying to make sure I process my email and probably periodically, once or twice a week, file it away or delete it or whatever. But in the meanwhile, I think I'm going to loosen up on that. And in the last couple days since I did that, I think I've spent less time in my inbox than when I was pausing my inbox and non-pausing it.
Oh, cool. I think we should probably check in again on that sometime soon, see how you're doing, and I can chat a little bit about email deluge that I get at the mothership.
All right. Well, stay productive, Matthew.
You too, sir.
This has been ProdCast, the personal productivity podcast from CRM Audio with Matthew C. Anderson and Joel Lindstrom. Follow Matthew on Twitter at @MCAnderson or on his blog, connectingthedata.com. Follow Joel Lindstrom on Twitter at Joel Lindstrom. ProdCast and the rest of the CRM Audio Network are available on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and anywhere else fine podcasts are available. This podcast is a production of Dynamic Podcasts, LLC.